Hey everyone, my name is Patrick, and today I get to bring you your Daily Hope Devotional. A few weeks ago I received a message, and it kind of felt like a kick to the gut. The message simply said, the doctors are pretty certain I have coronavirus, and it was sent from my mom, where suddenly the virus was something personal. It affected someone close to me, even though I haven't seen my mom in a number of months, I haven't had contact with her. It greatly impacted me to hear that she had been affected by this. Suddenly her world changed, where for 2 weeks she had to be in isolation in her home and couldn't leave, and thankfully she's made a full recovery without the help of medical attention or anything like that, so we're really grateful for that, and are just so thankful that God had mercy in that regard. But it made me think, in biblical times, there was a disease that was going around that if you got, it was to be quarantined, but not just for a couple weeks. It meant you were quarantined for life, that your life was no longer the same. To be declared with leprosy meant that you were banished from the community that you enjoyed. You could no longer have contact with your family. Your business or place of work was stripped from you, and you had to live on the outskirts of towns in leprosy colonies or leprosy camps. And it would have been a life sentence. That's where our story picks up in Luke chapter 17, verse 11. You see, there were 10 lepers, men whose lives had been stolen from this disease. And they approached Jesus from a distance, it said. And they cried out and they said, "Master, have pity on us." It's interesting they called him Master, for usually only the disciples called him Master. What's also interesting is that they said, "Have pity on us." I don't know what they were asking, whether they were asking to be healed, or maybe they were asking for a meal because he heard that Jesus had fed the 5,000. I don't know what they were asking for sure, but Jesus said this. He said, "Go and show yourself to the priests," which was required when a leper was healed, to show to the priest so that they could be declared healed and they could return to normal life. And so these men in faith turned and started walking toward the town, toward the temple. And I could just imagine this. I like to just kind of think, what would that have been like? The Bible doesn't give us a whole lot of details, so my imagination just kind of goes wild a little bit. I imagine these men turning and going, "Okay, well, let's walk to the town." And they start walking, and it says, as they walked, they were cleansed. As they walked, they were healed. I can just imagine this scene unfolding as 10 men whose lives have been stripped away from them because of this disease were starting to walk toward the temple. And as they walked, they were healed, where they couldn't feel their fingers. All of a sudden their fingers were moving and they could have feeling in them again, and where there was distortion in their face because of the leprosy, there was healing. And I can imagine them looking around and going, "Oh my Lord, what's going on?" as they were healed from this horrible, horrible disease, where they were slowly walking to, I can imagine their pace picking up more and more and more, where all of a sudden they are running to the town and they are celebrating, and their lives have been returned to them, and there's just much rejoicing, there's high-fiving, and they're just so caught up in the moment. And all of a sudden one man stops, and I envision this, that the other 9 men didn't even notice that he stopped, and he turned around and he went back to Jesus, and he just gave thanks to God for being healed, and he praised God. Here's where I'm getting at. All 10 men stepped out in faith. Only one returned to give thanks and praise. You see, the fruition of our faith always leads us to praise and thanksgiving when it comes to completion. All 10 men acted out in faith. One returned to give thanks to God. Some of us are longing for our lives to return back to normal, and one day we will experience a new normal. Things won't be like they are now. I hope and I pray that all of us respond like the one and not the 9. As we step out in faith and trust Him, may we return and give praise and thanks to God for what He does in our lives.